Welcome into KSL Sports Rewind. Dusty Litster and Dane Stewart, as always, presented by Heidemann and Associates.
Yeah, that's right. And folks, if you have any legal needs, they can take care of you, and you don't even have to show up at their office. You might be thinking, oh, they're up in Utah County. Hey, they got offices in St. George, and they can meet with you virtually. They can take care of whatever legal needs you might have, be that requiring litigation, business, will and trust, whatever it is, they can take care of you, and they'll talk about your favorite football team too. For a free consultation, you just have to tell them that Rewind sent you when you call 801-754-4240.
Hey, all I can tell you is I got a family member that went and met with Heidemann Associates. They live in Duchesne. I mean, you can do it. And I watched them do it. They got it all taken care of, all lined up. It all worked out great. And as always, brought to you by Western Governors University. Hey, we talked about it. Get your one-year MBA, or get your MBA in 1 year. Be like Dane. Or just go to Western Governors University like our own Jeff Hansen. You want to wear tinfoil hats and you want to make lots of money, Jeff and Dane, I mean, it's just how this goes. It's just awesome. Go to wgu.edu to find out more.
Yeah, and of course, you can also earn up to $2,500 in scholarships. Make 2022 the year of you, and you can learn more at wgu.edu.
Absolutely. Well, we're talking 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. We'll talk about who's in the 8-man championship as well. Go check out our other videos, 5A and 6A. We got you all set. And folks, we mentioned there, we are doing a game day style preview show with myself, Dane Stewart, Jeff Hansen, Brian Brown. Going to be a blast. We're talking, obviously, going to be up at Rice Stadium, but folks, you're going to have 2 days. I make this promise right now because we all produce the show together. I promise 2 days where we are going to preview 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A because we're going to have to. Full hour from 10 to kickoff at 11 o'clock here at Rice Stadium. So you're going to want to tune in. We're not alienating a soul here. We're including everybody into what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right. There's going to be a lot of names that people are going to hear. I don't want to say it for the first time because we've talked about them here. But, man, our coverage, it's going to be much broader than just, hey, we've got a game coming up. So it's going to be spectacular, and, man, I can't wait.
We're going to have an absolute blast. So join us right here on KSLSports.com, 10 o'clock on Thursday and Friday. Plus, we got a halftime show and post-game shows as well. But let's get going. So 4A. Dane, you know, if we just stuck to our guns here, we knew what was going to happen in 4A. We got a little cute. We messed things up. We knew. And we totally, you know, in the words of one of our favorite sports guys, we outthought the room. We outthought the room, and we took it on the chin.
Yeah, you know, you're right. And you know, I mean, the tough thing is just sometimes it's hard to get information, right? And in lieu of not having information and trying to piece things together from a distance, it can sometimes be hard to read through the tea leaves a little bit. But hey, I think I think at the start of the year, to your point, we knew the best teams in 4A were down south, and through a state tournament, that's where we're at, and that will be our state championship.
Yeah, and we thought the two would be there. So let's go through it first. Crimson Cliffs and Ridgeline. The reigning 4A champion in Ridgeline taking on Crimson Cliffs, a rematch of last year's semifinals. Well, it wasn't repeating itself as Crimson Cliffs, Steel Barbin. Outstanding game, throws 3 touchdown passes. Tyler West has one through the air, one on a kick return, for heaven's sakes. And it was all Mustangs, 27-13, their first ever state championship game in their short history of Crimson Cliffs.
Yeah, 9 wins this year, also the most in school history for this program. But, man, you talk about a group that's just been building, Dusty, because I want to say that each year in their existence, which I think is 4 years now, they've advanced round by round by round, year after year. Now they're to the championship. To your point, the first time. They beat Desert Hills earlier this year. They beat the team they will play in the state championship earlier this year, and we'll see if they can do it twice in the same year. But you talk about Steel Barbin. Man, this guy's been so amazing. You remember last year was so much of that ground game, and they kind of mixed in the pass. Well, hey, we can sail that ball through the air. They're also quite competent on the ground, and that defense locks you down. It's been the most complete team, I think, in 4A all year long. They've continued to show that over the course of the playoffs, and they got one more game to prove it. We'll see if they can capture that first state championship in state history, in school history.
Well, I love that they stubbed their toe down the stretch and they just got things righted, right? Stubbed their toes a couple times and then just got things going in the right direction. Congratulations to Crimson Cliffs. First time, you remember your first date, you remember your first touchdown, you remember your first everything. You're going to remember your first ever state championship game. And once more, this might be the best play championship game in theory because they're both sleeping in their own beds. No one's sleeping, especially for the rural side, right? Because they're taking on Desert Hills and Coach Rick Barry in his second year at Desert Hills. And we talk about teams stubbing their toes. Desert Hills gets a huge win against Brighton. We're all over it. And then you got injuries and guys going in and out of the lineup and trying to figure things out. They get housed a couple of times by a couple of teams. I was like, what is going on? Rick Barry brought his team back together and the calming influence that guy can tend to be. And here comes the Thunder. They rout Mountain Crest 44-14, Dane. Really, really impressive. All the touchdowns were on the ground. This isn't through the air.
Yeah.
Ground and pound and get after him. I thought Desert Hills very, very important, or very, very impressive to get that win.
Yeah, it's almost a bit of a flex by the Thunder. Look, this was the preseason #1 team in 4A. You talk about the win over Brighton. It really just put more wood on the fire there for the expectations. And then obviously Noah got dinged up that first game. That's been a battle for them. You talked about that. But man, you talk about a Mountain Crest team that, and I'll say this one more time, and I'll try to say it as clearly as I can. We had a pollster that put Mountain Crest in our top 25 because they had big expectations. They liked what they saw from the Mustangs this year. And this is a group that found its way to a semifinal, earned the trip to the semifinal. They led Desert Hills at the break 14-10. And then Dusty, third quarter, you get a 33-yard pick six by Cyrus Polu for the Thunder. And you just wonder how much steam that took out from the Mustangs. They wouldn't score again. You talked about the ground game for them. What a game for Tyden Morris. 26 carries, 142 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Bo Wall ran the ball 3 times, twice into the end zone, only 6 yards. Short yardage. Bo came through for the Thunder. I mean, it was an impressive ground performance. Noah really didn't have to throw the football. Still completed nearly 70% of his passes, but it was not we're going to go launch 300 yards. That was not the game plan for the Thunder, and I think they show a little bit about their versatility as well. We know they've got options in that air attack, and if nothing else, it's going to make Crimson Cliffs maybe think about what are you going to expect from this group in a state championship game. I think it's going to be a blast of a final in 4A.
Yeah, I love it. And how about we get the name? He ain't settled for no Tyden Morris. 2 touchdowns. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations again, Desert Hills and Crimson Cliffs, and all St. George final, which means that game is going to stay down there at the at Utah Tech for the state championship game. By the way, that should be a great show out. If we could make it work, we would do it. But we know we got some friends here at KSLSports.com that'll be streaming that game. You'll find that championship game right here, again, at KSLSports.com. All right, let's look at 3A. We got what we were looking for. Okay, let's just put that as the byline right now. Morgan and Grantsville. Morgan, man, round 2 could be different than round 1. Not so much. It was all Morgan from the jump, 27-0. The Trojans over the Cowboys, Dane, and man, Morgan flexes, throws a shutout. They pitch a shutout, get back. I think I saw. Well, I think it's the next note. But for Morgan, another state championship game. Again, they're 12-0, but a 27-0 win over Grantsville. Yeah. Here we go. Morgan gets in.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about from the jump, Justy. It was 13-0 in the first quarter, and it was 2 rushing touchdowns for Gunnar Lish, 2 rushing touchdowns for Jet Salmon. Nick Despain did not find a touchdown through the air. Still had a nice night, 15-24, threw for 150. Look, they didn't need him to, didn't ask him to. That ground game did enough for the Morgan Trojans. Another shutout for Morgan, which that defense, we've talked a lot about the offense and the running attack and the air attack. That defense has probably been the best side of the ball that we haven't talked about in the state this year for the Morgan Trojans. Sargent had an interception. Morgan just continuing to show, hey, when they met in the regular season, that was not a fluke. They do it on a neutral field. They take care of Gunnison again. Defending state champs go down. And now we're going to get, well, we'll talk about that here in just a bit.
Yeah,
I already let the cat out of the bag once. I can't keep secrets. I'm going to try to earn that back on the resume. So moving on.
You can't be – don't be sweatback. You're not a sweatback. You can keep secrets. Hey, you want to know why Jet Salmon's touchdowns are the toughest? Because he doesn't go with the current. He swims against the current.
Yeah, I was going to say because he got to take it upstream.
Yeah. Let us know what TV show that's from, and you'll endure yourself to Dane and I. Where my quote, even the movement, it's the same movement because it's one of my favorites. All right, now let's talk about the other side. Who will Morgan be taking on? Well, I feel like it's a flashback. Juab. How about this? Combined 24-0 are the records in the 3A championship game. And if you thought you deserved the number 1 seed, now you got a chance to prove it. But Alex Jensen and crew, Dane, in what was, as I read and watched a little bit of, the chippiest football game in this state this season. Juab and Canyon View. Whoa, man, there was some stuff happening all over the place. But Alex Jensen showed out through the ball all over the yard. Riker Richards had a big night. Wesley Nielsen had a big night. But big one is Juab punches their ticket as they take out Canyon View 37-21 in Cedar City.
Alex Jackson.
Jackson. I said Jensen. Alex Jackson.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. We got fact checkers out there. They were getting ready to tweet you, Dusty. Look, this was heck of an effort from Canyon View. A 23-7 second quarter is really the separator here for Juab. First, third, fourth quarters, all very competitive. You talk about the chippiness in this one. Jackson, 24-41, 472 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. That's in a semifinal game. Almost hits 500 yards through the air. You talk about Nilsson's big night. He had 3 receiving touchdowns. But this was Juab. The offense continued to do what it has done all year long. And just impressive. Let's talk about the run the Wasps are on. Dusty, this is the third. Okay. Juab has hit 12 wins this year for the third time in the last 4 seasons. Wow. They've hit 12 wins. What a run for this bunch of Wasps. This group has a chance to get back, win a state championship. Obviously, they won the one in 2020 over Morgan. Of course, that's been the only playoff victory Juab has over Morgan was that 2020 state championship. Right. And if you want another fun fact, Morgan has been the last game that Juab has played in the playoffs every year since 2017. This has been a regular postseason matchup. Morgan's had the edge. Will they be able to cap it off in 2022? We'll find out. But look, you got 2 offenses that are accustomed to finding the end zone. That Morgan defense that we just talked about may be the difference. We'll see if they can find a big night.
Well, I mean, and most of those games have been classics too. And the ones that have gone lopsided have been on the side of Morgan. And but yeah, going to be an absolute blast. If you thought you were number 1, go prove it. It's one game, but it'll be down in St. George. And again, you'll see it right here on KSLSports.com. We'll be previewing that one as well. If you'll join us on our game day coverage on Rewind on Thursday and Friday at 10 o'clock. We'll try to make sure we mix up the notes on those ones too. You're not just going to hear a regurgitation of facts. That is not how we roll. And that's why we got 4 people on the panel. This is to keep us making sure that doesn't happen. All right, well, let's take a look at 2A. And 2A, this was the fun A football. I mean, you think of there's a certain school from my hometown area that try to put a little fly in the ointment. We'll get to them in a second. Beaver is 2A football. We kept saying Sanborn, South Summit, and Beaver is out there saying, hey, Hollingshead and crew, we're over here. How about Beaver? 35-0 shutting out South Summit.
Okay, yes. But not just shutting out South Summit, shutting out the number 1 seed, shutting out the previously undefeated South Summit Wildcats. And you talk about a bunch, Dusty, that forced 3 turnovers, that Beaver defense did, scored 21 points off of those 3 turnovers. Titan Fails, we've talked about him, multi-year starter, 5 of 8, 2 passing touchdowns, 150 yards through the air. Gashing them through the air was that Beaver offense. And Bo Wheatley, Bodie, I'm telling you, man, we're going to roll with that one as long as we can. Bo Wheatley is the difference.
Bodie has stronger shoulders than Bo Wheatley did.
Right? They didn't even have to sit him in a wheelchair for the first 3.5 quarters, Dusty. He played the whole game, pair of rushing touchdowns. Beaver ran for almost 200 yards. We talked about fails through the air on the 5 completions, over 150. I mean, the Beaver offense this is like reminiscent of 2-3 years ago, Beaver offense. Where's this been all year? They're finding their stride at the right time, and Beaver back in the state championship. Congratulations to Coach Marshall and the boys of Beaver High.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to the boys, all in blue. They'll be all in white for that state championship game. Well, if they so choose to go the white and blues, that's fine. I don't have a uniform recommendation at the moment, okay? Because they just keep winning. It doesn't matter what they wear. I'm not stepping on that one. But how about this? San Juan and Emory. Remember a couple years ago? Remember the basketball season? It was like a 98, 94 regulation time. Wasn't even overtime. Emory and San Juan. Let's just pick it up in football, shall we? Because this wing was awesome. Creek Sharp with multiple touchdowns. Sorry, Crick Sharp. I'm from home. We'll get that one. They'll get that one right. Crick Sharp had a good one. Colton, Don't Call Me Caleb, and Conan Curtis had 70-yard catch. Wade Stilson was throwing the ball over the yard, but it just wasn't enough. How about Zach Conway? We have never said Zach Conway's name. I don't know if this box score is accurate or not, because Parker Snyder was slinging the ball over the yard, and Zach Conway was the Brock Wilson for the Broncos. If it's accurate by the box score, because I don't remember it being incorrect on the broadcast.
Well, so first of all, you all just witnessed history. I love to point out when we have history, right? We love to talk about history and first times ever. That is the most names Dusty has ever mentioned when talking about Emory. Most ever. So we all just experienced history. Remember the date and time. Look, Dusty, I did not think Emory would go toe-to-toe with San Juan. Sorry, I had to just get that. San Juan, man, what an effort from Emory in this. It was 45-33 or 43-35 at the half. Each team added 14 in the second half, or 13. But, man, what a gritty effort. You talk about Stilson, 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in the first half. Added a passing and a rushing touchdown in the second half. But, man, Conway, he balled out. You talk about Snyder, 3 passing touchdowns. 2 of them were over 65 yards. Had 2 rushing touchdowns as well. The Broncos, back-to-back 12-win seasons for the first time in school history, undefeated once again, and they've got a chance to go repeat as the 2A state champions as they're able to outlast Emory. And look, the crazy thing when you talk about San Juan is, Dusty, we've not seen a defense really being able to slow them down, and their defense is good enough to slow you down. Remember that game against Beaver regular season, I think it was a 35-27-ish game, is one possession. Beaver showed that they can play with them. Can they find enough offense to outscore San Juan? We'll find out. But, man, the Broncos just continue to buck opposing teams week by week.
Right. Hey, and I'll say this. If we have names wrong off those touchdowns, I think other places have had it. We all go check box scores. We can watch games and say, oh, hey, that's the official box score. So just put that out there in case something on that is incorrect. Because like I said, that's name. I've talked about San Juan a lot. And so if that is wrong, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. The box score says a certain name, and maybe we'll go double check that. But congratulations, San Juan and Beaver, once again in the state championship. Going to be an absolute blast to see that one again. Again, we will be previewing that one both Thursday and Friday, 10 a.m. Join us on the Rewind Game Day show with myself, Dane, Brian, and Jeff. All right, now let's talk some 1A football, shall we? I got a text message. I got to cheat a little bit here. I get a text message in the middle of my game. Dang, I've been in the studio all year, lead to the state tournament, just because of the way things kick. I go out and start calling games. Well, I'm up on the desk. I'm up on the top doing the game. We're about to start the second half, and all of a sudden I get a text message from an old friend that says, hey, Dusty, we had a pretty fun game tonight. There were some really awesome plays. Just thought you'd like to know. Griffin Bone, thank you. Absolutely loved it. Talked about it on the stream. Like, I just got a text message. Griffin and the Cardiac Cowboys come out and take care of business. They right the wrong that was a win against or lost to Enterprise early in the year. Kyron Bracken, look, family friend of mine. It's his cousin. Had 2 touchdowns. But Griffin Bone leads the way with 2 rushing touchdowns and a passing touchdown to Derek Brown. And congratulations to the Cardiac Cowboys getting to the 1A championship.
Man, you talk about Griffin Bone, Dusty. He scores a touchdown with 4 seconds left in that first half to make it 12-7 in favor of the Cowboys. And look, had 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown. Just remarkable night. And you talk about a guy that has been such a gritty competitor for Kanab all year long and be able to make plays in a semifinal against Enterprise, who 11 wins this year. Dusty, that's the most since they had 12 in 2003. It's the second best team in school history here in 2022. Bracken, you mentioned him, passing touchdown, rushing touchdown, but just not enough. Parker Franklin was a beast, 26 carries, 98 yards with a rushing touchdown for the Cowboys. As the Wolf Watch, ow, ends in heartbreak for Enterprise as Kanab gets them 26-15 and the Cowboys pull off
Even
the
going to go back with you. I was feeling it with you. I was going back there with you. But who do the Cowboys take on? Well, I mean, hey, if you're on the revenge tour, in the words of the guy off of Taken, good luck. Leighton Christian took on Milford. So the opening drive for Milford looked terrific. They go right down the field, boom, 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 get set up first and goal, end up settling for the field goal, and Alex Montoya. But Christian does the same thing, fumbles at the goal line. Here comes Milford. Malik Johnson opens up the floodgates to the 18-yard, picks 6, and then Leighton Christian took care of business. Dane, LCA to their first ever state championship game.
They've been to state championship games. They're 0-2 in state championship games. Right. Yeah. Both of those state championship games they played at Duchesne. So hey, this is going to be new territory for Leighton Christian. You talk about that, Dusty. I mean, it was 7-3 at the break. You talk about Malik Johnson's pick 6. By the way, his 9th interception of the year. That leads the state. Congratulations, Malik. But man, you talk about a group. When this is all said and done, Leighton Christian had 375 yards. Milford had 56. Giatris Moala, 27 carries, 248 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. And how about this? I've got friends who are going to love this note. Elijah Ellis. For all you long-timers here in the state, yeah, it's that family. Son of Luther, 11 tackles, 3 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and an interception. Playing like his old man on the defensive side there for Leighton Christian as the Eagles of Leighton Christian, 24-3. That's got to be like the lowest points that Milford has scored this year. They've had a prolific offense, but just get the 3 against Leighton Christian. That defense was ready to go, and 9 wins for Leighton Christian ties them for the most in a single year with the 2021 group. If they won a state championship, it would be the most wins in school history. They got their sights set on the ultimate goal, and we'll see if Kanab has a little something special for this group of Eagles in the state championship game.
You mentioned Luther Ellis. I just got to throw this out there. I was in Detroit for the draft. Well, just happened to be there the night of the NFL draft. And there was a guy wearing a Luther Ellis jersey. And I asked him for a picture, and I took it. And he's like, why? I said, I'm from Utah. I don't know Luther, but it's kind of fun. If all the jerseys I thought I would see, that was not one of them. That was awesome. That was really, really cool. But congratulations to Coach Stowers and the Eagles. Look, we got to talk to those guys earlier in the year. They got the big win and thought, hey, this could be that special year. And it has been. They got back to the state championship game. Congratulations. And then before we wrap things up, 8-man football, they have their first ever state championship game. Gunnison. Man, they ran Ruckshaw their first in that semifinal. They're going to be taking on Monticello. The Buckaroos going to be back in the state championship game in 8-man football, taking on the high-powered Bulldogs of Gunnison Valley. But Dane, we look at this rule side. What we're going to see, going to be a lot of fun to watch those games. They'll be right here on KSLSports.com.
Yeah, it should be, Dusty. And look, I think you and I in most of the rules were pretty well aligned. I don't think either one of us had Kanab, if I recall correctly. I don't think either one of us had Beaver, if I recall correctly. I don't think either one of us had Desert Hills, if I recall correctly. So we've got some changes here, huh? It's going to be fun to see these state championships and see some teams that are trying to do some new things, see if they can get that done. But, man, it's going to be a great week of championship action. Can't wait to see how these classifications play out.
Absolutely. Again, want to see the previews for these games? Come on the stream on Thursday and Friday. We're going to be talking 5A, 6A from Rice-Eagle Stadium, but we are previewing 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A both days there at Rice-Eagle Stadium with myself, Dane Stewart, Jeff Hansen, Brian Brown. I'm pretty safe in saying this, the biggest desk in all of high school football, because we're bringing some beefcakes and some dudes onto this set.
If we don't get them off the desk and start talking about O-line and D-line play, then we will have failed, Dusty. So we'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah, Brian, I think we'll take care of that. I think we're going to be okay. We've been reading Twitter. You've been seeing it all. And I think we also need to sleep. It's Francis, it was really funny with this tweet with us all laying with a pizza on our stomachs. Yep, where we're going to do it. That's how we're getting ready on
That's going to be our Wednesday night.
Yeah, going to be an absolute blast. But come join us on KSLSports.com. And all these championships are right here only on KSLSports.com. For Vince Francis and Dane Stewart, I'm Dusty Lister. Thanks for joining us and for watching KSL Sports Rewind on KSLSports.com.